Welcome to Pimpy's Investment Chat, where we keep investment talk simple. And here's your host, Pimpy.
What is going on out there, peeps? All right, let's get back to Iraq, man. There's a lot of jockeying going on, a lot of alliances trying to be made. These two gentlemen right here, if they could team up together, they will form the largest political group, or I should say political bloc in parliamentary. They will be able to establish the government that they agree upon. And nobody's going to be able to stop them because they'll have the votes to do so. We know Sauder has, in his mind, the type of government he thinks should be in control of Iraq. I told you he's a nationalist. He's all about the Iraqi people with no outside influence, including from the United States, from Russia, from China, from Iran. He doesn't want none of those things interfering with what Iraqi people should do. But there's something else looming out there that nobody seems to be talking about. Something that might be a game changer for everything that's happening in Iraq. We'll talk about it. Before we get started, if you could do me a favor and just hit the thumbs up button, the like button that is. This helps us get past the YouTube algorithms. And if you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. A reminder to everybody that I am not a financial advisor, I'm not a lawyer, nor an accountant. All the information that I share with you is of my own opinion.
Hey, look, I want to talk about this Amber Lawley product again. Whenever something good comes along, I do want to talk about this. My neck, I had a kink in my neck from hell, and the pain was, it gets to the point where you get headaches. So I just grabbed the cream and I rubbed that crap on the back of my neck. After a while, you don't even realize that the pain is gone. You're just going, and how we are several hours later, and there's no pain. And it works really quick. I like that. So joint pain and muscles, sore muscles, nice. And then here's the thing about me. I get offered all the time. People want to come on, they want to be sponsors, they want to be this. My thing is, if I don't use your product, I'm not interested. You know, I could sell out everything and make a ton of money, but no, my subscribers to me are very important. But this product here, absolutely, I'm going to endorse this. I like it a lot. AmberLawley.com.
Hey folks, just a quick reminder that back in 2008 and 9, a lot of people lost all of their retirement savings in their 401ks and IRAs because they did not own gold and silver. Yeah, that's right. Gold and silver protects you from a market crash. So do yourself a favor, protect your retirement by purchasing gold and silver. You can go to Moneymetals.com, reach out to them, and they will help you set yourself up to protect you and your family from having to start all over from scratch. If you're a first-time buyer and you spend more than $100, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and they will send along with your order a free half ounce of silver. So folks, do yourself a favor, head on over to Moneymetals.com and protect you and your family from a market crash, as well as inflation. So head on over to Moneymetals.com and buy gold and silver. That's right, you could personally own it and have it. And keep in mind, if you spend more than $100 on your first purchase, use promo code Pimpy, P-I-M-P-Y, and you will get a free half ounce of silver. For those of you looking for my address, there it is right here. You guys know I have this alternative website. I encourage you guys to go check it out, because over here we do have videos that I cannot play on YouTube and videos that have been banned from YouTube. All proceeds go to finding life's purpose. Be careful from people trying to scam you, posing as me. Whenever I reply to your comment, there will be a black circle or a gray circle around my name. If there is no circle or shade around my name, then it's not me. I will not be sending you to WhatsApp or Telegram or Telegraph or anything like that asking you for money. From time to time, I will use material that is considered copywritten. I am just posting this to let you know that I am exercising my fair use rights. All right, so it looks like Parliament is set to go ahead and hold their first session, which will happen this Sunday. From there, remember, they appoint the speaker first, the deputies, and then they announce the nominee for president. Saleh done a good job. Hopefully he gets back in there. We were joking around because if you read right here, it says in a statement to the news, representatives of Iraq, Arab, and foreign media too, covering the first session of the 5th electoral cycle, which will be held in the Great Hall of the House of Representatives on Sunday, September 1st, 2022. It's not September the 1st, you guys. It's January the 9th, okay? Yeah, it's the way they list their dates. These two numbers are backwards, okay? Says media representatives wishing to be there, they're going to have to be vetted before they can go in there because there have been threats already. As a matter of fact, Al-Qadimi has already had a call, an emergency meeting to address this. A source for the news, the Council of Ministers will hold an emergency session headed by Al-Qadimi tomorrow in Najaf. Credible threats, I guess, is what it is. And so they want to go there and talk about what they need to do just to make sure that everybody is secure. Confirmation agreement on what happened in a meeting of al-Sadr and Halabasi. Both of them are doing what they can to come up with an agreement to work together. They're going to establish the government together. Sadr knows what he wants in office. Halabasi is jockeying for certain things he wants. They want to have a lot of issues between Erbil and Baghdad that haven't been ironed out. Halabasi is agreeing to work with Sadr to make sure that he has the largest bloc so that they can get in the type of government that he wants and the people that he wants in the office. Sadr is all about making sure anything and everything that they do is all about the Iraqi people and nothing else. They don't want no more corrupt people in there. As a matter of fact, they want accountability for the corruption in the past. Halabasi is all about doing what he can to help out the Kurdistan people. They're just working out their differences. Also, one of the agreements is that, look, Halabasi's assumption of the presidency of the parliament, again, within the framework of the agreement by adopting a national legislative program based on legislating laws that achieve the public interest without partisan interest and upgrading the political reality away from the quota control that were in place. Sadr, who appears to be within the Kurdistan and Sunni support in his quest to form the next government, in turn provided guarantees to the parties allied with him to proceed with the majority government and achieve the legitimate demands for the concerns of the citizens throughout his country. I told you Sadr's all about doing what he can for the people. It appears. According to the information, Halabasi will be the guarantor of the Kurds by the commitment of the next Sadr's government to resolving the outstanding issues between Baghdad and Erbil in a manner that achieves the common interests of the two people. This is good. Work it out. A lot of these articles are about, them jockeying back and forth, doing what they can. Everybody's doing what they can to grab the majority so they can be control of the government. They could place who they want, where they want. Right now, Sadr looks like he's got this under control. As long as him and Halabasi team up, they should be fine. So a lot of these articles are about that. But there's something that people aren't talking about. There is a religious leader, Sistani. He's sick. And this guy has been in control of the Shia religious people for quite some time. The concern about Sistani passing away is who's going to take his place. These are Shia Muslims. A lot of people think that Iraq should go back to the old ways and it should be an Islamic state is how it should be ran. So you can see right here, Sistani emerged as a powerful voice in Iraq's political process and a symbol of the newly empowered Iraq Shia majority after the U.S.-led invasion by forcing the U.S. occupations administrators to significantly revise their transition plans. Sistani's proactive role in Iraq's troubled politics after the invasion was also decisive in serving as a stabilizer of the conflict-ridden country through his attempts to forge a common cause for all Iraqi ethnicities and religious sects. His views have been critical in common tensions as the country has faced crisis after crisis, beginning with the civil strife following the U.S.-led invasion, through the war on the Islamic State terrorist group, and then the mass protests against the Shia political establishment over the recent years. The way they choose their leader is different than the way other religions do. You don't get to appoint somebody. That's where our concerns are. If you get a hardliner in there, and he has the ear of the majority of the people there, things can change real quick in Iraq. Iraq going back to an Islamic state instead of a democracy can be disastrous depending, again, on your point of view. You can see right here it says, instead, Sistani has advocated the notion that clerks should not play executive or administrative role in state affairs, but should limit their non-religious role to giving advice on issues of public interest without being directly involved in government matters. Right, here's the other thing too. He has not only rejected the dogma of guardianship, but has even explicitly called for a civic state in Iraq rather than a religious one, distancing himself from the theocracy preached and practiced by the Islamic Republic in Iran and its proxies in Iraq. So see, here's the problem. Depending on who takes his place, they could buddy up to Iran, and then, their religious leaders can have influence once again, a very powerful influence over what goes on in Iraq, because they're one of, if not the biggest, religion in Iraq. So there was a time when the Shia-led governments in Iraq have shown dysfunction. Sistani has raised the reform of Iraq's inefficient political system to the forefront of his mission and has remained outspoken against rapid corruption and mismanagement. He's also been critical of some social customs that have flourished in the country in a time of lawlessness, such as the tribal justice exercised in some parts of Iraq to resolve disputes. In a remarkable fatwa, religious ruling, issued last month, Sistani blasted underage marriage, an emerging phenomenon encouraged by some Shia clergy and overlooked by the authorities. Now, here's the thing. Although there will be somebody who takes the place of Sistani, the fact that Sadr and Sadr's family has the kind of influence that they do, there might still be a good chance, this article goes on to talk about, that Sadr will still have more influence over this next religious leader. So you can see right here it says, unlike a monarch whose succession is regulated by descent or a Roman Catholic pope who is elected by papal conclave, the Shia, or supreme spiritual guide, is chosen through a complicated process of acclamation by learned clerics and allegiances from large groups of followers. In Sistani's case, the mechanics of the succession process mean that whoever replaces him must receive a pledge of allegiance from a network of al-Sistani's agents worldwide and be likely to continue his path in Shia theology. The two people that are being considered are both in their 90s at the moment. And it says right here, seminary watchers have recently floated the possible candidates from a younger generation. So one of them is Irani, for many years a prominent scholar whose audio lectures are widely listened to by Shia faithful worldwide. Irani, who has been keeping a low profile, recently opened an office in Najaf where he started receiving dignitaries, students, and followers, a sign that he may be preparing to be the one of the contenders in Sistani secession. Though nationality has not been a liability for former guides of the Shia faith, Irani, who is believed to be an ethnic, I'm not going to even pronounce that, may face obstacles in becoming the leader of the Shia religion. At a time of revival in Iraq's patriotism, in the face of an entrenched sectarism and increasing Iranian influence. So there's going to be people really competing to try to take the place of Sistani. Speculation has run rampant that Iran, which has stakes in both the Shia spiritual leadership and in Iraq, may try to get in the way of Sistani's secession. It would obviously prefer a clergyman who supports its model of Shia theocracy based on the principles of their religion practiced in the Islamic Republic. Since the fall of Saddam, Iran has set out to build a support base for its vision of Shiism in Iraq, but its efforts to push for allegiance to its supreme leader, Ayatollah, instead of Sistani and other Najaf leaders, have raised suspicions amongst most Iraqi Shias despite initial success amongst its proxies. Upon Sistani's passing, you can expect Iran to try to get in there as quickly as possible and start influencing people. If they can get one of their own in as leaders, you can understand what's going to happen. They're going to try to turn Iraq into an Islamic state, just like they are. This is not good. So you have Iraq's Shia cleric, Sadr, will likely keep a close eye on the death of Sistani and whoever might be his successor. Sadr himself is not a mujahid or a scholar of theology, making him ineligible to join those vying for Sistani's succession. But his influence might still outsize that enjoyed by many of the contenders. So look, that's good to hear, man, seriously. So whoever is vying for Sistani's position, the influence that Sadr has might still be bigger than whoever takes Sistani's place. His political movement, the Sadr's trend, with the biggest winner in the Iraqi elections last October, and it seeks to dominate the political conversation amongst the Iraq Shias. Sadr is known to have sense of Iraq nationalism, and his supporters, who still follow his late father, advocate a Shia of Arab descent. Since broadly speaking, Iraq's next Shia Grand Ayatollah will find himself obligated to keep up with Sistani's legacy and to show that he is willing to work through the challenges of Iraq's chaotic transition, including staying committed to checking the entrenched Shia oligarchy that is seen as being responsible for Iraq's miserable dysfunction. That's the bigger problem, is who's going to take over? What kind of influence are they going to have? Is this going to be an Iranian ally that they get in there as a leader of this religious group? If that's the case, what kind of push is Iran going to have on turning Iraq into a Islamic state? One good thing is the fact that Sadr has won and has control at the moment. His influence is wide. His father was very popular. Sadr himself is very popular. We'll see what happens. Now, we know they're Muslims, but they don't support an Islamic state. That's the difference. So whoever takes over for Sistani, you got to hope that they don't support flipping Iraq into a Islamic state, but instead keep its democracy. Anyways, that's one of the things that are not being talked about that I wanted to bring to your attention. That's it for now, you guys. Hit the thumbs up button. If you're not a subscriber, please do so, because when you do, it helps out the channel, and I surely do appreciate it. And I'll catch you later. I'm out.